When I am introducing someone to reverse garbage, I think the first thing I always say is think about an op shop and then think of all the things that you never see in an op shop, and that's what reverse garbage has.
It's a very hard place to describe. I think you actually really need to come in here to work out just the mystery behind reverse garbage. We never have the same stock twice. It's just constantly, changing and evolving. So let's go with the weirdest op shop on the planet.
And you might just come in without somewhere that you couldn't write a shopping list for, probably, because it's just unexpected and you don't know what you might need and you don't know what you might end up with.
So we take the weird and the wonderful and we collect industrial discard from businesses. We also take community donations, a lot of art supplies, things that teachers or artists or creatives can use in their lives for projects, but also maybe to furnish their homes as well. But yeah, we are a creative reuse centre, to put it simply.
So we turned 50 last year. We were started by teachers and community that could see Marrickville was a very different place back then. So there was a lot more light manufacturing and industry, and these teachers started rescuing those materials to originally just use in their classroom. It was about saving money and providing open-ended resources for their students to encourage creativity.
And so reverse garbage sort of founded on the basis of demonstrating how reuse can be creative and can be used in a whole bunch of different ways. And the early founders of reverse garbage really advocated for reuse and what that means and how it's different to recycling as well.
Now, we have to travel slightly further now to get those materials. Marrickville isn't that hub of industry that it used to be, so we travel a lot more west and around Sydney, but the crux of what we do has not changed. So we have a lot of teachers that buy materials here, early childhood through to tertiary, and students as well, and use those materials in their classrooms. Materials have changed a bit, as I just said, but the crux of what we do and advocate around reuse is still definitely the same.
We do get a lot of mannequins, bits of foam, bits of acrylic, bits of wool fabric. A lot of those things are pretty regular donations. We have regular donors who we pick up from, or they sometimes deliver to us as well. Otherwise, we get a lot of donation inquiries from the general public. So the material comes into us and we will weigh it. We will log in a book where it's come from as well, just to track where we're getting all our stuff from. It's useful data for us to have to know how much we've saved from landfill. Each month I think it was around 5,400 kilograms saved. And then it will get priced, maybe get sorted. Some of our volunteers help us sort them so they're easier for people to buy. And then, they just go out onto the floor, or some will come into the education section and be straight away used in education workshops. The types of workshops we host are corporate, schools, professional development and public workshops. The public workshops might be more specific to trying out a different sort of art form. The school workshops will either be incursions or excursions held at our warehouse or in the schools, teaching kids about reuse and using our materials to make art projects.
With our workshops at Reverse Garbage, we see maybe 3 or 4 schools a week, and during the school holidays 4 or 5 a day. With those workshops, we curate a range of materials that have been donated to Reverse Garbage. So it could be anything from old zippers to buttons, or potentially little beads, or even sometimes we've included things like records as well, like from record players and whatnot. And we take those materials to schools or to corporate partners that we have, or early learning centres, and we lay out our big buffet of reuse materials. The workshops that we deliver are based on different curriculum points. So say, for example, if students are learning about what goes into a community and making a city function with all of the different parts of infrastructure, we'll talk about that point within the curriculum, but use creative reuse materials that have been reclaimed from our warehouse to deliver that message. So we might make a box out of cardboard and turn it into a house, for example, and use different materials from the warehouse to adorn that as well.
I think one of the things reverse garbage has taught me is to view waste differently. Like even just in this room here, like there are a lot of different artworks that have used like a plastic straw or a bottle top in a way that you just wouldn't expect. So maybe think about before you're putting things in the bin.
There's so many different ways to contribute to reverse garbage, whether that's volunteering for reverse garbage to help prepare materials for our education programs or our retail space. A lot of people know that reverse garbage takes donations of goods, and that always helps, but also financial donations really go a long way. As I said, we are a charity, and often running off the smell of an oily rag to, make sure that we're doing all we can to have the best impact.
By shopping here. It is simple as that. By shopping here, by considering your choices. When you go to shop, do I really need this? If I do really need it, how can I dispose of it ethically? Can I share it? Can I take it to reverse garbage? Can I take it to an op shop? Can I take it to a tool library? Consider the options before you buy and how you're going to dispose of it. Do I really need it? That should be the first question you are asking yourself. Can I get it somewhere else? Can I borrow it? Can I find it secondhand? Just slow down.
In terms of reusing and recycling materials in their everyday lives, I think first and foremost, educating yourself around what reuse is and how it is different from recycling, because you do find a lot of people throwing around these words interchangeably, whereas they're very different topics. Embedding reuse into your everyday life, it's almost about practicing creativity, I think. Thinking, hey, what could I use this for before it goes in the bin? Or yes, I will put this in the recycling bin, but maybe my child has an art project they're working on, and so I'm going to use this first and then put it in the recycling bin. But also just little things like not using glue or tape in your crafting so that you can disassemble things and then put them into the appropriate waste disposal stream as well is just a little thing you can do.
You just need to look around. It is as simple as that. And look, we can't be perfect all the time, but we can make choices that lead to a change of you can't do it overnight. It is a mind switch. It's hard. To change human behaviour is a really hard thing to do. But you can make more sustainable choices and just work at it. If it starts with taking those bags to the shops, if it starts with, do I really need these new pair of shoes? Can I find them somewhere else? Can I borrow them? It is looking at your choices, digging deep and thinking about your role in a more sustainable and socially equitable space that you want to live in and leave for the next generation.